There's been a lot of chatter about Doge lately, and really, I don't think you'd find anyone who wouldn't ask for more government transparency. Sadly, I think it's only exposing a deeper problem. It's become clear that the principles that should be guiding us simply aren't good enough. They're not working for us. How are we supposed to tell the difference between government waste and policies that someone in power doesn't like? There has to be a difference between these two things. And if there's no way of telling that difference, then no amount of government transparency will help us. Every country needs guiding principles to make law and order. And without this, there's no way to tell whether a policy is good or bad. So the US, they think they've figured this out with the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Problem solved? I'm not convinced. I just can't see how this is supposed to work for everyone. What even is happiness? And what do we mean by rights? Yeah, there's no chance everyone agrees on what these mean. And without agreement, the whole system, it kind of falls apart. And with that, we find ourselves in this moment here. Our system has issues, and everybody's yapping about them, but no one's contending with the real problem. The best way I can put it is with this one question. How do we assume the consent of people we haven't even met? Okay, I'm curious. How would you answer this question? Take your time. I'll wait. The answer to this should give us a guiding principle. But if we can't answer this, then the only options we're left with are to scrap all the laws or follow orders guided by someone else's feelings. Or maybe you have an alternative that no one's thought of yet. So let's hear it. What have you come up with? In the meantime, let me pitch you one idea that might help make our laws work for everyone. I'm calling it the common interest. First up, it has to start with something that we all agree on. Wait, why does everyone need to agree? Well, an agreement, either within or with others, is meant to cause a consistent action, the same action over and over and over again. If we can point then to a consistent action, then we know that it's been caused by some agreement. Now, if we can find something that everyone consistently does, then we can assume that it was caused by something that everyone agrees on. And there you have it. If you know something works for everyone, then you can imply the agreement of a total stranger. This is called tacit consent. All right, let's work this out then. What do we know that we all agree on? What do we all have in common? What's something that we all do consistently? This is way harder than it sounds. How about this? If you understand any of the words that I'm saying to you right now, then we know something to be true. We know that you think, I think, and we all think. Yeah. I know it sounds simple, but it's supposed to be. This ability to think is something shared by everyone who makes and understands words, no matter where they're from or when they were born. And since we'll all want to keep using some kind of language, then we all know we want the same two things. We want to make our own choices, and we want to be able to act on those choices. These aren't opinions. They're universal to everyone who thinks. Without choice and action, we can't expect social order. We also need rules that never change. I'm not talking about the petty social norms or manners like keep your elbows off the table. I mean the big ones, the laws. And if a law is truly going to work for everyone, then it needs to work everywhere, at all times, now and into the future. And why is that? Well, if the laws keep changing without good reason, then how can anyone trust them? Imagine if freedom meant one thing today and something else tomorrow. It's absurdity. Considering just the two things we've talked about here, we have enough to give us our guiding principle. Everyone always wants the ability to act on their choices. Many people would just call this freedom, but it's important here to be precise. This is the common interest. At the minimum, we have to be able to say this. Laws must always protect your freedom so long as you're not interfering with someone else's. For example, if someone tries to hurt you or block your freedom, laws step in, not to control you, but to protect what's rightfully yours. I believe that if we recognize just three agreements, it gives us a guiding principle that will help us cut excess and wasteful government spending, expose laws that shouldn't apply, and keep us focused on what's important and relevant to everyone. We really need to agree to these things if we want to make our system actually work. Number one, we all want to make our own choices. No choices means no language, and no language means no rules. Number two, we all want to be able to act on our choices. Rules only matter if we can act on them. Number three, we all need rules that stay the same. People everywhere need the rules to be clear and consistent so that it's even possible to follow them. We don't need dictator Dennis to tell us what to do. We need rules that help us do it together without jamming anyone up. I don't know. I really think this is possible. And I think we can simplify it to just one assumption. Everyone always wants the ability to act on their choices. This is the common interest, and it's about rules that we can all agree on. No tricks, no threats. It's like making a game where everyone must agree on the same rules before we roll the dice. Just freedom and fairness for everyone. What do you think? Is this the kind of change we need to make in our system? Let's talk about it. And thanks for listening.